great-great-great-grandmother. There's also the fact that Lois's dad, Carter, hates the Griffin family and tries very hard to stop any relationship between Peter and Lois from happening. This theory suggests that's because they're related. There's a very interesting theory regarding why the first 3 seasons of Family Guy are bad and weird, and why the characters are different from the rest of the series after it came back from being cancelled. It's the theory that pre-cancellation Family Guy and post-cancellation Family Guy take place in 2 different universes. Meg, for example, is loved by her parents pre-cancellation, and in the time travel episode Back to the Pilot, Stewie and Brian go back to the pilot episode and claim they didn't time travel, they actually went to a parallel universe. It certainly makes sense, but there's a simple counter-argument that suggests the writers had to change everything about the show because it wasn't very good, hence the cancellation. There's a theory about Brian that suggests his substance abuse issues are reflected in the apparent de-evolution of his character. And there's no doubt that there's a compelling argument that over time, Brian's alcoholism has morphed his character just as the disease does to its victims in real life. Brian definitely seems to be getting dumber over time, and it's likely because the alcohol he so regularly drinks and the drugs he occasionally uses are having a degenerative effect on his brain. If that's the case, could Seth MacFarlane be trying to send out a subliminal warning of the dangers of substance abuse? Maybe. This one's less of a theory and more of a definitive conclusion fans have come to based on a number of comments and cutaway scenes from the show itself, and it's the idea the Griffins have had a number of other children who have passed away. Peter, for example, has explicitly stated they had a son who died, and even though it's in a gag, it doesn't change the fact he said it. It's also been suggested Meg has killed her younger sister, which means there may have been at least 2 other Griffin siblings. As we mentioned earlier, it's an established fact that American Dad takes place in the same universe as Family Guy. It's also established that Family Guy's little Susie Swanson's inner monologue is voiced by Patrick Stewart, who also voices American Dad's Avery Bullock. This theory suggests the 2 characters are one and the same. Sort of. In American Dad, the CIA has a device that allows a person to remotely control an avatar of any shape or size, and in Virtual Insanity, Bullock does indeed have an avatar who just so happens to be a baby. Susie is therefore theorized to be one of Bullock's avatars. The iconic Robin Williams tragically committed suicide in 2014. 2 years earlier, Family Guy aired an episode that made fans theorize that the show predicted his death. Family Guy viewer mail number 2 had a segment in which Peter discovered everything he touched turned into Robin Williams. He became so annoyed and irritated by Williams showing up, he attempted to kill himself several times. It's an eerie coincidence the episode had both Robin Williams and suicide as themes. What's even more eerie is that BBC 3 aired the episode in the UK just moments before Williams' death was announced. On September 11, 2001, Seth MacFarlane was scheduled to depart from Boston on American Airlines Flight 11. 15 minutes after the plane took off, it was hijacked and flown into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. Seth was supposed to be on board, but a hangover and a mix-up regarding his departure time meant he arrived 10 minutes too late. Many fans of the series theorized he used the experience as inspiration for the direct-to-video film Stewie Griffin, The Untold Story, which they believe is a 9/11 allegory. Stewie had a near-death experience in the episode and later realized he must go back in time to prevent that from happening in order to fix future events. Moreover, Stewie's future address in the episode is 1109, and after averting death, he remarked, "Yes, I did it. I stopped the tower from falling." Speaking of Stewie, there's a theory that Family Guy takes place completely in the little guy's head, or more specifically, it's his perception of the world and how he tries to understand it from his limited knowledge. The shenanigans of the show are, therefore, extremely exaggerated because it's all from a baby's perspective. The most compelling part of the argument supporting this theory is Brian has the ability to talk due to the fact that Stewie simply sees the dog as a member of the family, the others of whom could, of course, talk. There's a theory that suggests Family Guy somehow predicted the tragic 2013 death of actor Paul Walker in a car accident. At the time of his death, several conspiracy theories popped up but were quickly shot down. But the Family Guy episode Life of Brian seemed to eerily foreshadow it, especially when Brian was killed by a car. The episode aired just 6 days before Walker died, and the theory suggests that because Walker's name was Brian in the Fast and the Furious movies, that it was a prediction and Family Guy's writers were somehow aware of Walker's impending death. The episode Turban Cowboy had 2 unrelated scenes that caused a considerable amount of controversy and led fans to theorize Family Guy had predicted the Boston bombings. In a cutaway gag, Peter was shown winning the Boston Marathon by mowing down the runners in his car. Later, Peter used a cell phone to accidentally set off a series of bombs. The episode aired roughly 1 month before the bombings occurred. The situation became even more controversial when someone edited the 2 scenes to make it seem like they were connected and furthered the theory that Family Guy predicted the event. However, Seth MacFarlane denounced it and called it abhorrent, and the episode has since been removed from airing. The final theory that we're including here is that Family Guy actually all happens in Peter's head. It's based on the fact that the entire Griffin family have been able to get up to all sorts of hijinks, ranging from the paranormal and societal to the unspeakably expensive and downright illegal, all without any kind of repercussions. Why isn't Meg seriously mentally scarred? Why hasn't Peter bankrupted the family? Why isn't Stewie in a school for naughty children? Well, it's all because none of what we're seeing is actually happening. It's all simply taking place in the Griffin family patriarch's mind as a way of escaping his mundane life.
Now that's what I call a curveball. Commercial!
And that's the end of our video. Did you enjoy it? Do you think any of these Family Guy theories might be true? Let us know your thoughts.
It's taking over. There's no escape. You better get moving. Ready or not, they're ready.
The show Rick and Morty is one heck of a ride. If you know anything about it, which you probably do because why would you be watching this, you know that in it, the characters are tossed between an infinite number of realities, planets, and dimensions, which is enough to give you whiplash from the comfort of your living room, or more realistically, the bed you haven't left in days. Let's be honest. Because the characters jump between parallel universes, fans of the show have developed multiple theories about hidden plot lines that the Adult Swim writers created, but are hidden to the commoner's eye. Let's dive right into one theory which keeps popping up. Evil Morty is Rick's original Morty, and this one actually makes sense.
Let's go, in and out, 20 minutes adventure.
When we're not sharing quotes, making memes, or finding the hidden Easter eggs tucked into episodes, Reddit users are popping off suggesting multiple far-fetched theories such as Rick knows he's on TV, which is why he sometimes breaks the fourth wall, duh, and that Rick and Jerry never left the simulation, meaning the entire show could be a simulation of itself.
Oh, for God's sakes, that's enough.
While we have enjoyed sifting through these many threads of hopped-up fans, the theory that stuck out for us is, drumroll please, we hope you didn't mind the title of this video, that Evil Morty is actually Rick's original Morty. Though it may seem like a stretch, we believe the fans of the show have really done their homework on this one. And by homework, we of course mean binge-watch this series again and again with total reckless abandon. Okay, buckle up, it's about to get weird. So, when you read the official description of the show, it says that Rick Sanchez has been MIA for around 20 years, and suddenly arrives at his daughter Beth's doorstep looking to move in with her and her family. We're led to believe Morty grew up without a grandfather, and was deprived of that special male bond that comes from hanging out with a twisted old white dude. But in Season 1, Episode 10, we see from Rick's memory that he is holding a little baby Morty. If he was off gallivanting in who knows what universe, it doesn't make sense that this picture's exist. Again, a photo surfaces on the episode Get Swifty in Season 2, where Morty sees a photo of Rick holding a baby Morty on Bird Person's wall. These two photos simply don't add up. Either the person in charge of continuity on the show should get fired, or these are clues to something bigger, something better. Our theory is that the baby is not the Morty we know and love, but is in fact a different baby. That's right. Hold on to your hats. We think C-137 Rick has that memory from a different dimension where he raised a different Morty, then seemingly abandoned him. Now, we know what you're thinking. Would Rick do that? Ditch one Morty for another? Well, in the Rick-Lantis mix-up, we meet Lizard Morty, the result of Rick combining a lizard and a Morty. Someone please alert PETA. And in Close Rick Counters, we see Rick electrocuting a Morty. So, from this, we gather it's pretty clear Rick has no issues with putting Morty in harm's way, because Rick seems to have no attachment to worlds or other people, so it's not crazy to suggest he could swap one Morty for another, especially considering how easily he could access a new Morty in the process. The attachment is never fully there, knowing he could find another Morty with just a quick change in dimensions.
I'm about to show you guys my 90s.
Completely different as well. Morty's a baby in both of them, but they showcase different ages. This suggests Rick was around a lot more often than we were originally led to believe, or at least around some version of Morty long enough to snap a couple pics.
Ooh la la, someone's gonna get laid in college.
In this alternate world where Rick is raising Morty, we think something went awry. Because Rick is, shall we say, not the ideal father figure. We think that his baby Morty got corrupted along the way and became evil Morty. Our theory is because Morty doesn't have Jerry. He never developed a deep-seated and crippling insecurity. Instead, when raised by Rick, he learned how to be incredibly full a long time, and his intelligence rubbed off on him. So what happened in this alternative universe, you ask? How did Rick part ways with evil OG Morty? Well, we think the answer is in the opening scene of the show. In it, Morty is taken by his grandfather to his spaceship for the first time. But Morty's demeanor is remarkably chill. I don't know about you, but if my grandfather dragged me out of bed and put me in that flying piece of trash, I would at the very least be amused. Sure, having to ride shotgun next to your drunk grandfather is not the ideal scenario, but you're still flying in a spaceship. We think this isn't Morty's first time flying. We think this is evil OG Morty, and believe his attitude is reflective of him jaded as hell, and simply wanting to go back to bed. Also, while the man is a certified booze hound, he is particularly twisted in this scene. Is it because of something? Did something happen that drove him to drink in such a reckless way? Rick says he wants a fresh start, but from what? We think he wants a new relationship with a new Morty, a Morty that isn't evil or hates him. So maybe he wants an original evil Morty to die in the crash so that he can adopt a new Morty in another universe. But the plan goes awry. Morty does live, and Rick doesn't realize. Rick pieces out, and evil Morty is left abandoned on a desert planet. So this Morty is stewing with the abandonment, and we meet him again in episode 10. We think evil Morty, wanting revenge or some sort of misguided sense of closure, studied Rick's notes and created the Morty Matrix in order to lure him out of hiding. If you're not yet convinced, listen to a couple lines we pulled that we believe is undisputed evidence. In the episode Close Rick Counter of the Rick Kind, Rick says,
The cocky Morty can lead to some big problems. Could be a real bad thing for everybody.
as if he's speaking from experience. We think that Rick is having a particularly poignant case of deja vu, and it's not sitting well. While the counter could be that we've seen other cocky Mortys on the show, think of Police Officer Morty and Untoxic Morty, there's something about his tone in this scene that leads us to believe that Rick knows what will become of him if he keeps showing these traits. In the same episode, Rick tells Morty that he's the Rickest Rick, but does not affirm Morty's assertion that he is the Mortiest Morty, which is perhaps further evidence that this is not his original Morty. In the closing lines of dialogue from an episode 1 in season 3, Rick is speaking to Morty and says,
De facto patriarch of your family and your universe.
Notice how Rick said your universe, as if he were implying that Rick doesn't share a link to that particular Morty in any universe. So what in evil OG Morty's behavior points to their sordid past? Well, remember how evil Rick is being controlled by evil Morty? Well, that means everything evil Rick did and said to Rick is coming from evil Morty. So when evil Rick says, Ricks don't care about Mortys, that is being scripted by evil Morty. Seems a little personal. No, he also cuts down Rick and tells him he isn't as clever as he thinks.
What's up, Bo?
Again, maybe that anger is fueled by something more than a general hate for Ricks. Evil Morty flexing his vendetta
Bye.
against him is fueled by a lifetime of having to deal with poor treatment from his father figure. Why else would he want to copy Rick's memories and then kill him? Lest we forget that when looking at
Can you give me a gift card?
wells up into
No shit.
maybe that stir of emotion is caused from the deep regret Rick feels from the way things turned out. So if we put this all together, it goes a little something like this. During the 20 years Rick C-137 was missing from Pilot Universe, he raised an incredibly intelligent Morty, then treated him like dirt in classic Rick fashion.
This is what I asked.
Challenged Rick's intelligence. Something happened between them that split them apart. Some theorists suggest that maybe he also Cronenberged evil Morty's world like he did with the Pilot Universe. Or he simply abandoned this Morty to find a better one. Rick
How people feel about me
assumed the role of a grandfather instead
and how I don't even argue.
parents raising them. We use the term actual loosely because, well, Jerry. So we think that's why he is so eager to teach Morty about the ways of the universe. And we will decide, and this time do it right. Rick's guilt about evil Morty makes him treat new Morty
Bacon boy, bacon boy, bacon boy, bacon boy, bacon boy, bacon boy.
also explain Rick's wacky rant at the end of episode 1, where he says he may have found the perfect Morty. Not smart enough to rebel or get too smart for his own good, but courageous enough to be his sidekick. Rick and Morty forever.
Bitch, you can't hack me.
Clearly something happened in the way evil Morty was raised by Rick that made him no seems so perfect and allowed Rick to abandon him easily. But when Evil Morty finds Rick, he controls Evil Rick so he can trap Original Rick. He wants to sift through his memories, maybe to get some closure on what happened between them. And
Dan
he tries to
TDM.
use intelligence, showing that he is the one in power now. While we obviously love how the theory fits because it develops the Evil Morty character significantly,
New.
there are some holes we would like to address. The first being that the baby picture evidence could be easily debunked by an assumption that Rick could have stopped in to visit Morty when he was small. But we think that's a little too easy. The bigger issue is that because we're dealing with an infinite multiverse, there are infinite Ricks and Mortys playing out infinite versions of themselves, regardless if they're evil or not. There is probably one universe in which Evil Morty is raising Rick. That's the problem with this show. Anything's possible. The writers could have also just tried to retcon the whole 20 years thing by shoehorning some random visits by Rick when Morty was younger. And now it's your turn to weigh in.
Time to go, Morty.
Do you have your own theories? We want to hear the most ridiculous stuff you have to offer. You think Morty is a clone? Explain why. You think Beth is actually Morty's daughter? Sure. Show us what you got. Who knows? If it's good enough, we may even explore it in the next video. Thanks for joining us on this ride. Until next time, don't forget to subscribe to Screen Rant for more great content.
She wasn't there when she. Come on.
Sometimes I imagine school bus that could go anywhere.
You gotta pay? But I'm poor.
Rick and Morty is one of the most popular shows out there, and its fan base is not to be messed with. Devoted Rick and Morty watchers have a serious love for the show, so much so that they investigate every little detail and come up with some of the wildest fan theories. Sometimes it seems like the fans know more about the show than the creators themselves. Hit the red subscribe button to be the first to know of all of the shitty Screen Rant content. The character of Rick is such an tick, but does anyone really know
Dick.
what Rick is thinking, or even if he is the Rick with Dick we know? This fan theory asks just that question, when it supposes that the Rick we follow on the show isn't the original Rick from that timeline. They propose that the Rick who originally belonged in this universe actually died when Beth was young, rather than abandoning her, and the Rick we know and love simply popped in and replaced him years later. The 20 years that Rick spent away from Beth and her family really raised some questions in Rick and Morty fans' minds, and this theory expands on that gap, but takes it to another new direction. It states that Rick never actually left, that he remained in Beth's life the entire time, but then something happened, something so unforgivable, that Rick erased the family's memories of him for the last 20 years, and fabricated the story of his disappearance instead. Whatever it was, must have been pretty bad for a decades-long abandonment to be the happier alternative. Another big question in fans' minds is the question of who's Beth's mom. In Season 3, Episode 1, we almost got the answer. But that backstory turned out to be faked by Rick. Left to their own devices, fans came up with a pretty awesome explanation. They suggest that Unity, the hive mind capable of entering and controlling the minds around it, who has a long romantic history with Rick, might actually be Beth's mom. It would have had to have been another woman's body being inhabited by Unity for this to make sense, of course. But in the Rick and Morty universe, anything truly is possible. Another fan theory takes a crack at Beth's origin story. That's what the theory thinks. Remember Miss Frizzle, the redheaded teacher? Well, one of the most popular theories out there is that Miss Frizzle is actually Rick's ex-wife. Think about it. They're both scientists. They both have technology to shoot down and travel within the human body and to travel in space. Fans have gone so far as to suggest that Miss Frizzle can save us with one possible theory. Not to mention that some have which is known to be a recessive gene. Skipping a Now that's a crossover episode we're dying to see.
You do whatever you do it for.
One more theory exists about Rick's wife, only this one isn't so much about who she is, but where she is. Some fans
Me getting ready to get creative destruction.
horrible gun, and that Beth's mother was sent into the unknown. They think it could explain why Rick is so depressed and angry, and why we don't really know what his greater mission is. He's searching for her under the guise of causing general mayhem.
It's not fair.
He knew the family belonged to
Do. 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 What's up, Charlie? Oh. Oh. I need to get this game. I can't get this game, dude. I'm going to be pissed.
Use my out.
I am not a god. You know how freaking great that one has been? I'm on 3 Roblox for this game. I didn't get the notification. Dude! I'm a bloody genius. No, I'm not a bloody genius. So PUBG's this is what I be like. Don't tell me how much Roblox you fucking have. That just makes me mad because I'm a bacon, dude. It's like I want to be a fucking bacon, but I want to be supportive of the noobs, dude. Oh my god, my freaking phone. If I gotta do more games. What? This game is a sick joke. It's too
Wawa Classic Hoagies are only $4.99 each. Take a bite of a delicious meatball with Parmesan. Enjoy a tasty Italian with more meat. Or pick up a cheesesteak served on one of our freshly baked rolls. Get any Classic Hoagie for $4.99. Gotta have a Wawa.
Look, if you spent the past couple years building a life and reputation for yourself in life in paradise, cut your losses. It's all pointless now. Your life means nothing anymore, and it's all my fault. Let me show you. So, yeah, obviously everybody's going nuts about the custom admin commands that our Lord and Savior Decabox has blessed us with. Somebody forgot to cook this hot dog. No, but you remember that one admin command where it would make people talk, like you would type in talk, blah, 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 and it would have that little blue thing right there, and it wouldn't really show up in the chat. No, or you could control someone, and then while you control them, you could talk, but it would show up under your name. But thanks to advancements in technology, who's this? Amy01. Okay, whoops. I typed in Amy, and I accidentally gave her the ability to make somebody talk. But look, now you can make people talk, and on this thing right here, it will show up with their username. This child. Let's look at the results. Well, Amy01. That was really messed up. Now she has found a new mother. A new father. A dog. She she was given birth to by a dog and it smelled bad. And look at the chat. AB019 said that. I honestly might be able to. I could literally say